Hello everyone, my name is Magnus Holberg and I'm going to share something about protection of our water, our watersheds, our drinking water supply, based on something I read in a very interesting article in a paper today. Reading the article in the New York Times, I thought about the New York water supply, but also connections to brownification and also something that might seem odd, the European Water Framework Directive. How these three ties together from the article, I will give you a heads up in a very short moment here on this video. What actually tied these thoughts together was the water cycle when I was going through the article. The water cycle is something I've told you a little bit about in the video that I show you in the left hand corner. So I won't go any deeper in that except but to say that the water cycle, going from the oceans to the atmosphere to the groundwater, you have condensation, you have rainwater, you have snow that flows on the surface or goes in the groundwater. For this video, these thoughts, I would like for you to remember and focus on the surface water and what can affect the surface water, be it snow, be it rain, before it reaches a lake or a water reservoir or a raw water source of yours. So, what can affect the runoff water on the surface or the surface water? Let's have a look. First, you have industry. And then you have roads through the countryside. You have cities taking green areas into accommodation. You have farming land. You have big roads in the cities where you have pollutions through the rain coming down. You have deforestation. And finally, you have wastewater. And wastewater is not only the major sewage systems and the sewage treatment plants, but also the separate households. So the article in the New York Times was actually about how to invest in the New York water supply by protection of the watersheds, vast areas that the runoff water will pass down to the reservoirs, upgrading sewage treatment plants to make the discharge quality much better, to lower the impact on the reservoirs or the recipients, receiving recipients, and further down the line, the reservoirs. Replantation of trees to collect nutrients in the trees and the ground and not having it flow down towards the reservoirs and drinking water supplies. Repair and replace septic systems. And the toilet chair in the last picture I showed you, separate households, very important. Maybe you think one is not much, but there are hundreds, thousands of them. Last, private property owners encouraged to treat stormwater in their own backyard. Reading the article, I actually couldn't help myself thinking of a phenomena we have in Sweden called brownification. And thinking about that, I also thought about Karlskrona and the Karlskrona waterworks. The Karlskrona waterworks is one of the oldest still working waterworks in Sweden, and over the years, they have seen a deterioration of their raw water source, which is Lyckebeon, and the deterioration has come in the form of a increasing color in the water. Now, what is color? Well, color is a measurement of humic substances, which is organic material. This has to be removed when you're producing drinking water. So, looking at the graph here, you see an example of increasing color in the Lyckebeon. And from 1944 up until 2012, there has been a steady increase in the color. And looking at the color, if you have the glass with a light yellowish water to the left, that is equivalent to maybe 75, 80, 90 in color. Middle glass, a little more brownish, yellowish. you're maybe 125 to 150 in color. And finally, the ale or beer-like substance, or the water with very high color to the right, is maybe 175, 200 in color. So this development has been seen over the years, but this is a good example of a watershed in transition. And the climate change, the forest working, and so forth and so on. But it's a good example of what you don't like to see in your raw water source. So, having thought about this, I also included in my mind the importance of the EU Water Framework Directive. And this is, how should I say, a directive that tries to cover the same issues that New York is trying to handle in protecting their watersheds. It's of course in larger scale in Europe, but same difference really from New York. And the EU Water Framework Directive is one of the tools, a very important tools we have to work with water as a whole. I just want to end up by saying something like this: think before you drink. Now, with that, I will say thank you, and please take the opportunity to read the article in the New York Times. It's quite inspiring for me. But again, I'm a water nerd, so I don't know about you. But anyway, have a good day. Talk to you soon again, I hope. Take good care, and bye-bye.